Rivian was one of the biggest IPOs of the year, and the markets are hot to trot for electric vehicles. Harley Davidson's management team realized this and is spinning out their e-bike unit in a SPAC that will value the company at over $2 billion. In today's video, we are breaking down the bull and the bear case for the equity. We explain why companies with puny sales are getting sky-high valuations, and a whole lot more. Stay with us.
I'm Hannah, this is Erin, and you are one smart cookie because you're watching the Piper Rundown, where we analyze business and culture to help you win. I almost got that. Whenever I switch things up, I always stumble right in the middle, but it's fine. You know us, you love us. It's an endearing quality, I would like to believe. Today's rundown is sponsored by JetStore. JetStore has been providing affordable, reliable, and easy to manage data storage and cloud solutions to over 4,000 customers worldwide for more than 26 years. Make sure you stick around until later in the video, right before the bull and the bear case, so you can hear more about how JetStore can help you with your data storage needs.
I'm also going to take things a little bit differently, and I am not going to stumble over my words as I break into today's video. Yes, that was a ricochet shot.
Way to be a jerk.
Over at Hannah.
Way to be a jerk.
If I were to simply talk about LiveWire in today's video, it would be unlikely that you would click. It would be unlikely that you would stick around. However, LiveWire is the electric bike division of a 110-year-old brand, Harley Davidson.
Jeez. Okay.
Harley Davidson has made the choice to spin out their e-bike division as an independent company as part of a SPAC with the AEA Bridges Impact Corporation in a reverse merger. This deal will net Harley Davidson and their EV unit $500 million in fresh capital to build out this e-bike company. Wow. And give just that division a post-money valuation of $2.3 billion. Should have messed that up.
Billion.
Harley Davidson has been nurturing and developing this division for over a decade, and it is a very interesting time that they have chosen to spin this unit out. We're going to get into the numbers in a second, but there's a couple important factors that you need to understand. The first is that Harley Davidson will retain 74% equity in this division. The rest of the equity will be held between AEA, will be the second largest holder, and their respective SPAC shareholders, and a Taiwanese-based manufacturer that helps to actually produce the bikes that this company sells. What they are effectively doing by spinning out this team is taking a portion of their business and drastically ramping up the multiple on which it's valued. Harley Davidson has been around for a very long time. In the comp section, we're going to talk about Ford and GM. They all operate in a similar way in which they are valued on a relatively petite multiple on revenues, meaning they make money. Maybe it's flat, maybe it's up a little, but it's been around so long, you just kind of know what's coming. There's not really some sort of crazy hockey stick growth trajectory story to tell. They trade on 5 times EBITDA. And now, as they pitch their own company, the way this raises, and Harley Davidson was up on this news, is they can say, not only when you buy us are you getting access to those cash flows and the associated benefits from it, you also have a call option on a $2 billion electric vehicle company. We just saw that with Rivian, a company that we've covered in the past. These things are so hot right now. If you sprinkle a little EV on your company, people get all excited, all hot and bothered.
Pretty excited. We actually have an exciting interview that you just did with Colin Heiler. Little channel teaser. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. He talks all about diesel fuel versus EVs and their impact on the environment that those both have.
So that's why Harley Davidson does something like this. They want to play a part in this very, very hot space, hot trend right now. On the other side of the equation, you wonder yourself, because they've not sold a lot of electric bikes, Hannah.
This is a tale I've heard before.
Similar to the Rivian story, but it's getting this $2 billion valuation. Why would an entity invest all this capital? Why would these SPACs put all this money into a company like this?
Why? Why?
There are currently more than 700 SPACs looking for a company to take public. So what that means is they raise 100, 200, 300, some of the biggest over $1 billion of just capital. They have to pay a little bit of interest on it. And if at the end of a predetermined amount of time, usually about 18 months, sometimes 24 months, you have to just send that money back with interest. Concurrently, the fees that you get to collect as part of completing the SPAC deal are substantial. In addition to get a piece of the company that you've acquired, you get fees, which makes this really enticing because most of the people running these reverse acquisition companies, they are venture capital firms, private equity firms, firms that have built the muscle of collecting capital, taking a cut of it, and deploying it. So they're all looking for dance partners, and the opportunities are getting less and less. All the best companies that wanted to SPAC, that wanted to go public, have already done so. And so now you're digging into different arenas, finding different moves at which to potentially do this. And that's why these companies going public via a SPAC are going to see really juicy valuations because they get to be price makers. And all these SPACs, when you're a SPAC, and there's 700 other SPACs all looking for EVs and new tech and space and stuff like that, they're price
takers.
Bingo.
Bingo, bango, bongo. Bing bong. I'm just like going off the rails today, but let's get into some numbies, Aaron.
How many units do you think they're going to sell in 2021, Hannah?
Oh my God. I mean, what was Rivian's number? Is there
10.
any? Yeah, right. Okay. So is there ballpark? Is it in the same arena?
It's more than that.
Okay. I'll say 200.
387.
Wow. Okay. So
Pretty close.
That was pretty close.
And now you need to remember, these SPACs can give forward-looking projections. They're always really hockey sticky. What do you think they're projecting for next year?
Something absolutely absurd.
Only 957.
Okay.
But the next year, 7,300.
Sounds about right.
And by 2030, they anticipate that this unit will be able to sell 190,000 bikes in just 1 year.
Sheesh, my guy.
You can guess what the revenues are when you assume it's crazy. They really don't do any revenue with this unit. This is basically not a business. It's been an R&D development project, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. That's another important thing here. I'm not disparaging companies that make investments towards the future, that try to see where the trends are going and be prepared for that instance. But at the same time, there's a whole lot of things that have to go just right for those numbers to become a reality. You need to come in eyes wide open when you see these types of projections and you're potentially the person allocating capital.
Definitely.
Right now, just in this current instance, the North American electric bike total addressable market is $56 million. And the reason that should be a point of hesitation is we always talk about big TAMs, big total addressable markets, being why some of these companies get stratospheric growth. Because like, well, if you just get a percentage of it and it's that big, that's a pretty big business. $56 million in total is not a very big business.
No.
So the whole market has to grow substantially in order for this to really be a multi-billion dollar.
I don't super see that happening. You know, I'm no electric bike expert, or certainly not in with the motorcycle crew, but that would be fun. I would be down with that if anyone wants to invite me.
You're young. You could still completely reinvent yourself.
That's fair. That's totally true.
Like in the movie Tron?
I'm seeing this for myself. I could, yeah, that would be dope. But I'm not really seeing 56 million growing substantially in the next like 4 or 5 years.
It would need a crazy CAGR.
Yeah. And it just, yeah, that's a long shot. On to the comps.
So there's a couple different companies that we should be looking at just to contextualize where this stands. The first is Harley Davidson. Up on the news, up to a $5.7 billion market cap. Makes perfect sense for them. Because if some portion of their business can get a crazy multiple, like we said, that makes their overall, but they own 74% of the company still, makes their overall portfolio more attractive. But it also allows them to create this outside entity that if things are really going badly, they can just funnel their costs and expenses over there.
Yeah.
Saddle that thing with all their expenses, and if that goes down, Now they're the good old 110-year-old Harley Davidson with a cleaner balance sheet.
Yep.
74% equity, you can do that.
Funny how you can weasel those things around.
Rivian, one of the calls in which we were the most wrong this year, and we are going to cover that in a 2021 IPO Bonanza summary video coming quite soon. $98 billion market cap. I gotta be honest, I didn't see it. I still don't see it, because despite an order for 10,000 electric vans and trucks from Amazon, they haven't shipped very many of them. And hardware ain't easy, so I still don't quite get it.
Okay.
But
fair.
I'm not so egotistical to think that I'm more right than the market.
Certainly. You know what? I respect that about you.
I respect that about me too. Bird has also gone public. You might remember the micro-mobility electric scooter craze of a couple years ago. They are one of the first to markets. Lime is lining up similar plans for 2022, and we will cover that in a future video. But they went public via a $2.3 billion SPAC. I think the scooters and that type of stuff is the only gateway to doing this, because outside of some novelties, I don't think many people want to own. I just don't think the market for people that want to own motorcycles is growing necessarily, but the ability to kind of like ad hoc rent one is probably where things are more compelling. Now, I don't think that's going to be a Harley Davidson necessarily. It's very different than an electric scooter, but I do see that as an important part of the future for these electric bikes. And then finally, you've got Ford with an $82 billion market cap and GM with an $85 billion market cap. I am really curious to see if they see how well this goes for Harley Davidson, which is on a smaller scale, and decide to do something similar with their own EV initiatives, because right now they aren't being rewarded. They have smaller market caps than Rivian, despite wildly different revenue numbers. Why wouldn't they take a good hard look at spinning out an EV unit and creating the same dynamic and actually getting their collective market cap up above Rivian's?
It is an interesting thought. My mind goes to, I mean, Ford has its specific,
The electric F-150s, I mean?
The electric F-150, but I feel like they are more dedicated towards the self-driving initiative than like the
With Argo.
Yes, exactly. And I see that as being much more worthwhile than trying to get a piece of this $56 million pie.
Well, Aurora just went public. Argo's looking to do that as well. We cover all those videos, all those companies in videos on this channel. You can trust us to do that. All we ask in return for that trust, actually we're asking for your trust, we're also asking for you to like the video. We ask a lot of you because of the amount of research and hard work we put into these videos. So drop some nucks.
Drop some nucks. That's a new one. Yeah, drop some nucks. Okay. On to the meme factor.
It doesn't sound like you even want the thumbs up.
I do want the thumbs up. Nucks threw me off. I'll say that. Did it throw you off? Let us know. The meme factor is where Aaron and I rank the memeability of a company on a scale from 1 to 5. 1 being negative memes, 3 is completely neutral, and 5 is all the positive dank memes. I think my meme factor is pretty high for this one. I know, I knew it'd surprise you. But there's a lot here that is like, it's just super memeable. I think when you think of like biking and motorcycles, there's definitely a baseline meme number for that. Put on top of that like the hype and the trend stuff right now around electric vehicles. All that combined, pretty high meme factor score. I'm going 4.4.
Sheesh. Do you know what the ticker symbol is for Harley Davidson? Because it might actually raise your 4.4.
I do not.
Hog.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow. It's not going to raise it because I feel like it's set in stone once it's out there. Once it comes out of my face, it is law. You heard that here first, folks. What is your meme factor score, Aaron?
I don't even know anymore. 4.1.
Okay.
I think it's got EV. I just don't think the bike thing is as exciting to people. I don't know what it is culturally of the like, something really hurt Harley Davidson when it became the stereotypical man having a midlife crisis purchase. Like as soon as it became, wow, it went from like, what a badass to like, what a guy suffering with mortality. it really like, I don't know what happened there. What was the movie Wild Hogs? Did you ever watch that?
I never did.
I watched that more times than I care to admit, but I think it's like Tim Allen and these other characters. It lost something.
Interesting.
And that's the only reason it's not higher.
Wow. Okay, well, let us know your meme factor score. And before we get to the bull in the bear case, let's hear about our sponsor, JetStore, one final time. JetStore offers storage systems for private cloud hosting, video surveillance, Internet of Things, AI, machine learning, edge computing, data archiving, HPC, media production, medical imaging, and even flight simulations. They can help you with all of your data storage and cloud management needs. They handle zettabytes of data. Check them out at jetstore.com. On to the bull and the bear case.
Bull case is really honed in on brand.
Yeah.
There's 7 powers that give a company outsized returns. Brand is one of them. It is the most fleeting, not the most fleeting, it's the most difficult to quantify.
Sure.
It can be fleeting at certain times, but brand equity is part of the reason that some of the biggest companies on the planet have been born. And Harley Davidson isn't necessarily in that uppermost of echelons, but it does mean something to people that ride motorcycles.
Yeah.
It is reflective of an entire lifestyle or style of living. And so if you think that that brand can hold on for more decades to come, and the future is EV, then this is a really compelling bet.
I would agree.
On the bear side, ridership is not growing for these types of vehicles. And further, Harley Davidson's sales just across the board aren't up.
Yeah.
So you think about other things like trucks, their prices go up with inflation. With population growth, there's kind of just like persistent need for vehicles, unless there's some sort of crazy change in public transportation or like fuel costs or something. All of that just does, I'm just not excited about the bike part of the question.
But,
I think electric like motorcycles are a very cool concept.
Yeah.
And I've seen with like lawn tools how electric can actually still be like powerful enough to like get the job done, which was kind of surprising to me. But the ridership for motorcycles generally is where I think there's a gap.
That's totally fair. I am pretty much on the same page. I think those who are excited about bikes might find this intriguing. But there's a whole nother crowd of like serious bikers who've just made it a lifestyle who would think, I'm just like theorizing here, hypothesizing, who would like turn their noses up at an electric vehicle because there are like these specialty bikes and Italian bikes and whatever. I don't think that someone who's that deep into the culture would really care to go for an electric vehicle.
Credit to the Harley Davidson team, because I think it's a coup for them. I think that they're the big winner in that they still have all the equity with this R&D. They just raised hundreds of millions of dollars. They get to kind of clean up their balance sheet. There could be accounting complexity in the future, but shoot, I think they're the winners.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for watching to the end of the rundown. We would like to read a comment from a past video. On our Grab SPAC video, Nick commented, Arya Stark. That is like the most common celebrity look-alike comparison thing that I get. I think one of these days I should just roll up in a full fur outfit with like...
That could become your thing. Like you could wear that all the time.